So welcome to the Forest Rock Teahouse chat today. So it's a very beautiful day, and I'd like to welcome you on board to watch this Teahouse chat. So this is an opportunity to ask any questions, philosophical questions about traditional Chinese medicine, about our courses, about the Qi Gong itself, about if you have courses, questions about anything to do with Qi Gong and things like that, you're very welcome to ask me. This is a time just to have a bit of a chat with each other and share experiences, share knowledge. And I think it's just such a really important thing. And so welcome to Terry, welcome to Mark, welcome to, I think Robin's there as well. And welcome to the class. There's somebody else here too. Nicole, welcome to Nicole as well. So there you go. So welcome to the class today. Well, it's not a class, actually, it's a chat. So anyway, so is there any questions? Any questions from anybody today? I poured you a cup of tea. I poured you a cup of tea. I'll just top it up a bit for you. Always pour the
I have a question about Monday's class. Tuesday's class. Ooh. Your weekly class.
Okay. Yep. Shoot.
You're doing something. You're doing a tiger movement, and is that from a system?
Yeah, it's from the 5 animal Qi Gongs.
Oh, it is 5 animal. Okay.
But there's a version. It's a particular version because there's a lot of different versions of the 5 animal Qi Gong, and there's lots of people that have done different styles of that. But that's a particular one. So as I say, there's more than one. And I even modified that a bit too, just so I could use it for the class to demonstrate the hand position of the tiger's claws. Yeah, that was on Tuesday's advanced class. You're talking about, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, very cool. That's what that was. Yeah. Have you done the animal forms? The 5 animal forms?
Yeah, one time I was practicing the 5 animals daily, but not anymore. So
for sure. Was it similar to the tiger one, or was it really different?
Yeah, it's been a couple of years. I don't really recall. I'm sure this was. I'd actually have to check.
Okay, no, that's fine. Yeah, it was more about the hand positioning and about how we use our hands energetically. For the other people that are listening today, we did the class. It's about the different fingers that you create when you're using sword fingers or you're using dagger fingers, and you're using the different the archer's hand, the bear claw, and just about where they're used in Qigong exercises. So I gave a demonstration of the different hand positions and the different exercises, just to talk about the importance of the way the hand's positioned and how the energy leaves the hand, how it moves in and out through the fingers, how it comes out through the palm of your hand. So I was talking about that, which is fascinating because it's interesting. The hand's got a lot to do with the energy, the delivery of energy outside of our body, especially if you're a medical healer as well. The energy that comes out of your hand, and remember, our intention is in the energy too. So the intention comes out through your hands inside the energy. Yeah. So anyway. So Mark, did you have a question about the exercise itself?
No, I was just curious, about where it was coming from.
Okay, yeah, no, that's where it came from. As I say, there's quite a lot of variations to that, of what that looks like.
Do you ever teach the 5 animals?
I haven't taught that for years and years and years. I could do that, but I've never run a course on it. I just learned them myself. I was taught by a master, but I don't necessarily practice it because I teach lots of. Because a lot of the ones I use are the Qigong exercises I try to use are very medical based, so therefore rectifying a certain condition. I'm not saying that the animal form doesn't do that as well. It's just I think there's other Qigong exercises that are more efficient than to help medical conditions. I think there's just better designed exercises that move Qi around for certain medical conditions. So I say that there is no other reason. Probably time.
Is it 5 animals? Couldn't you say it's like a 5 element form?
Yeah, it's very similar. They're all related to the elements. There's one of the animals for each of the elements as well. Correct. They even go back, and historically they go back to the animal forms preceded the 5 element Qi Gong. It actually came first. The 5 elements. They used to mimic the way the animals moved, and they were mimicking how they were moving in their own physical movement as a human. And that's where they believe that historically, where the 5 element theory, the 5 elements came from, was from the 5 animals, and then they went to the 5 elements after that. I can't 100% prove that, but that's the theory. That's the theory that it came from the 5 elements, the 5 animals, by watching animals how they move. So that would be a historic thing. But I think you can check. You'll hear that a lot on the internet. You'll see that written a lot. That that's the theory of where it came from. So it's one of the very, very early systems. But as I say, there's so many different variations to it now. So I don't know what the original one looks like. I'm not quite sure. The earliest model of 5 animals, I'm not sure which the earliest one is. Somebody might be teaching, I'm not sure, I don't know. So I might actually do some research and see if I can find the earliest 5 animal Qi Gong system, see if I can find it. I'm not sure. And you hear, and I think they go back, and then they've got other ones that the mantis forms and all those sort of came out of that idea of the animal forms, because the prime mantis strikes a certain way. Yeah, that's just created more and more. And then they've got the drunken form. I saw a video the other day of somebody doing the drunken forms on a video. What was the video? Oh, it's a movie, and he was doing the drunken form. Since we hadn't seen it done for a while. I think there's one with Jet Li. I think Jet Li does the drunken form. I know Bruce Lee did the drunken form in one of his, I can't remember which one of his movies he did. He was imitating.
Jackie Chan played a drunken master in a movie. Jackie Chan.
Right, Jackie Chan's done it as well. So it was very well known that particular form, that the drunken master form, the master who's the master of Qi Gong, or the master of Taiji, or the master of Kung Fu, and the master of Kung Fu gets drunk and he can still fight. Even though he's drunk, he's still dangerous. Yeah, so I think that came from that whole, I don't know historically where the official originally came from, but I love it. Anyway, it's been depicted.
In fact, actually, they had to be drunk to fight. It seems like when they were sober, they lost their abilities.
Yeah, there was something about that, Mark. There was something about they were completely free from any attachment to the body like that. You know, when we talk about trying to get our mind out of the road and let our body react, you know, martial artists run on reactions or reactions and impulses, not thinking. The person strikes and you teach yourself all these different combinations of deflection or defenses from a particular strike. And depending on what strike he does, depending on what defense you do, and you learn all these different defenses. And the idea, of course, is to get out of the road and just let your body react to whatever they're doing, so you don't have to even think about it to that level of instruction. So that it becomes an instinctual thing. So you're not really fighting, your body's just, you've taught it everything, and it's fighting the person. So that's a lot to do with that, with the drunken form, was because you couldn't get, because your mind wasn't working properly. So you got out of the road of it, and instinct was working even stronger. So that's an interesting concept. But that's the idea of martial arts, is to just sit there. I remember I have a story around this. My oldest son, he challenged me one day, and he said, he was about 18, I think. And he said, well, you know, what happens, Dad, if I strike you? And I says, oh, well, I'll just react to it. And so he did a strike, and he punched me like this. He did a quick punch. He said, see, I would have hit you. I says, no, throw a real one and see what happens. He said, what do you mean? I said, well, I'm not going to react to one that's not really got any intention behind it. But if you've got one with intention, I'm going to pick up your intention. And then I was going to react very differently. And so he said, okay. And so he went to hit. He threw a punch at me. And the next thing he can remember was upside down on the ground. I had my hand around his throat. On the ground, I lifted him off, his feet came off the ground, and he went on the ground, and I leaned over with the hand around the throat. And I says, and he went, whoa, what was that? I said, I have no idea. That's just 50 years of practice of martial arts to get to the stage where my body will just do that for me. And it was funny. Funny enough, he never challenged me again. But that's what it is. And I've had many people who I've taught over the years have had an instant where they've had something happen and they've just reacted. Somebody grabbed somebody around the throat one day, and He was a special forces guy, actually, and he came back and said, "Oh, Pete, that technique you taught me worked so well." The guy put him around the neck, he put his hand on him and just pushed him away, and the guy couldn't choke him. And he says, "Man, I couldn't believe it worked so easy." The guy saw the game. Huh? How did you do that? And other guys I know have had I had an old guy, a guy called Brian, a very good friend, and he was walking down the road once, and a door flew open. And as the door flew open, he put his hand up and he blocked it. And he'd been in Taiji for about 5 years. He just blocked it, the door, and the door had his hand, and he missed, and then he walked around the door, and the person goes, "Well, what the hell? Fast is your reactions?" And he said, I didn't do anything. My hand just came up by itself. So I think it's that principle that letting go, so that your body, you teach it all the techniques, and you teach them over and over and over and over again until it becomes instinct. And then your body just reacts by itself. And you don't have to do anything. It just does. The hard part, of course, is getting out of the road, getting out of your fear of confrontation, fear of being hit, all that, and just trust yourself that you'll know what to do. And that's the true, the understanding of martial artists that have been trained for a long time. I watched stay on that subject for a second, I watched the MMA, the UFC fighters. Some of those are extraordinary fighters. It's whether you're into combat sports, but I appreciate the art form of how much training those guys do. And they train in all these different modalities, the punching, the kicking, the grappling, on the ground game, standing up, the kicking, everything, to the level to train all of those modalities at the same time. Bizarre. Usually just have one sport, you're just doing BJJ, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and you're just doing that model. Well, they train on all these different disciplines, and they get in the ring with somebody else who's been trained with all these disciplines as well. And then it's like this game of chess about who's most efficient at which style, whether you're a better kicker, whether you're a better puncher, whether you're better on the ground. And I just admire the level of those guys' commitment to being a martial artist or a fighter at that level.
That's incredible.
Robin, did you say that you do it in the water?
I teach a gentle. It's called gentle flow, but I often will use 5 elements or shibashi for them to do the movements, just to, yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
So I just want to commend you on your walks that you've just recently done. I know you did the big Tasmanian walk, and you walked, is it 80 Ks or 80 something?
No, that one was in Victoria. That was for Oxfam.
Yeah, the Oxfam one.
I didn't complete it because my knee just would not take one more step. But
yes, but you need to tell people how far you walked though before you stop though.
81K.
81 kilometres, yes.
In 22 hours.
Oh, these wouldn't even last 20 kilometres, I don't think. So that's extraordinary. I just want to congratulate you there. That's fantastic. And the photos you put up on our group and our community, the Forest Rock community chat group on Telegram, the photos you put up are extraordinary. So thank you for that. That was really good.
So does that mean you were not walking, but more sort of running and trotting?
No, I just walk. But we didn't. We only stopped for about every 15 kilometers, and we ate and changed socks and things like that. So, yeah.
Because if you can
walk through the night.
I guess you can walk 5 kilometers an hour. So I guess you could do 100 kilometers in a day, but it has to be a good road or trail to walk 5 kilometers an hour.
No, this was up and down a mountain.
Oh, and you still were able to do 80 kilometers? Wow.
It was tough.
Because when I'm in the mountains, I average approximately 3 kilometers an hour.
Yeah.
When I'm walking, on a smooth surface on like a road, I can average 5, but when I'm on trails, it's more like 3.
Mm-hmm.
So.
How many miles is that?
Maybe about
48
50
miles, 50 miles.
Exactly. Well, I'm in the well for 50 miles. I have done.
I do another one in a month, and it's 100 kilometers, but it's over 2 days, so that's 62 miles. Yeah. But we get to go to bed that night.
You need to put your knees in ice. Yeah, very cool.
So I do have a question though about the animals. I was wondering, do you know which animal goes with which element? I'm thinking bear would be with water because of winter. Tiger might be spring. Is that
there? I think Earth, right?
So there's different ones. So there's different philosophies around this too. So I'm not saying there's one answer to that one as well. Terry, do you know what the five elements? Because you do the five elements, the five animals.
Yeah.
What are the elements involved in your system? You
Yeah.
do.
The ones that I do, bear is earth, the monkey is fire, the water, give me a minute for the water, but the tiger is the liver, that's the wood, and the I'm trying to think now. The lungs is the bird, so that's metal, that's the fall. And the water, oh, I'm blanking out on the water now.
Must be snake.
I didn't do the snake. The ones I did didn't have snake. It could have been deer. Yeah,
Oh,
it
There's
was
deer.
deer for the kidneys. Yeah, that was the water. But
There you go.
different systems, they use it. They do it differently.
Yeah, they do, and that's what I'm saying. It's depending on what your teacher is and what they taught, and which element they associated with, and there'll be theories around why they picked which element and which animal to understand the energetic principle of that. Because the water has a certain energetic, the liver has a certain energetic, and they've applied that energetic of the water or the wood or the fire to a particular animal, because of that characteristics of the animal. But remember, the animal, in theory, has all five elements. Yeah, because like humans, we have all five elements inside us. We have all of those parts of our characters. We might be predominantly one character, whichever one your sign is. I'm a fire rester, so I have a fire dominance, but I'm also there's other parts of me aren't fire. They're all parts of the other five elements as well. There's nothing you don't have one of them. There'll be at least some part of you will be all of them. So the animals are the same. They have that, and there's certain animals, certain bears are more, because it's for the earth, they talk about earth, there's certain bears that are more to do with earth, there's certain tigers more to do with wood, but there's tigers that are a lot calmer, a lot more passive than that. So it changes because of the different variety of the animal too. Remember, it was based in China, so they're talking about the tigers in China. They're talking about the bears in China, so they're talking about their version, not the bears that are in America. They're talking about a different kind of beer, so it has a different energetic. So they're using the energetic of the beer to talk about the element. But it's different in different countries because their animals in different countries have different characteristics as such. Yeah, it's like the cats. The wild cats in different countries have quite different characters. Same with the monkeys. There are some real passive monkeys and some really aggressive monkeys. Yeah, so it's the same thing. Does that help anyway?
Also, Kung Fu Panda, the movie, that they use the animals in it. They've got bear, snake, tiger, crane.
It's based on it. It's based on that. Correct. It's funny. My son's going to that movie today. Kung Fu Panda 4. But Josephine's going. I'm annoyed because I'm going to miss it because I'm busy working. But I'm sure I'm going to go and see it. So I go to the cartoon by myself, me and all the kids, because I'm good for that. I don't like it. That movie's great. I really enjoyed it. Josephine used to call me the Kung Fu. She used to call me the Kung Fu Panda, but I've lost weight now, so she said I can't call you that anymore. So I'm pleased because I didn't really like the depiction that I was like that anyway. Anyway, moving on. But yeah, so the base is based on the five animals as well, exactly. Yeah, clever. But I will go and watch the movie. I used to go with my older son. We used to go to the movies like for his birthday. He said, "What do you want to do?" We'll go to the movies. I said, "What movie do you want?" And he used to like cartoons. And we'd go, and the two of us would go on Father's Day, we'd go to a movie. And we move in, and there's all his fathers with these little kids. And here I am saying to my son, "This is the same height as me." Where did you show? I'm taking my son to this. He's taking me to the cartoons and go and watch. I don't know whatever one it was. We went and saw. Okay, we went and saw most of it. Great. Might have been a Shrek movie. Who knows? Can't remember. Maybe not. So any more questions? Any more questions about that Robin, about the 5 elements, the 5 animals. Did you have another question about that?
No, I'm all good, thanks.
Very good, and good luck with your 100k kilometer walk. I'm not sure luck's the right word, but you know what I mean. I send you lots of energy, so you can to your
Have
knees.
fun.
Send lots of energy to your knees. Keep the energy moving. It's a long way to walk. I'm impressed. It's a good walk. Yeah, it's really good. Put in, and please, can you put some photos up too of your walk? Put some photos up on our group so we can see, because then we get to live vicariously through your walk. We get to come for a little bit of the walk with you. You don't have to document the whole time. Just take a couple of photos and put up. I really appreciate that. Great. It's nice to see what our community are doing out in the world. I know Mark puts, when he goes for walks, he puts photos up when he goes for walks too. I like that. I think it's great that we are showing each other what we do and how we show up in our life and how we show up in the world. I think it's really nice to put that out. And I love the photos. We get lots of them. So. Any more
There
questions?
is something with that, Pete.
Go.
One of the things at about 3 in the morning when things were really tough for me, and I was doing Qi Gong in my head as I walked. I couldn't physically. I did for a bit. I was doing the arms from the monastery, and then I couldn't because I was trying to walk. And so, what is your thought of just practicing it in your head?
Yeah, good. It works. So your body won't know. But the first thing I want to mention about that is, were you using your knee strength when you were walking?
Knee straps?
Knee strength, the puppet strength, like your knee strength to lift your leg up and down.
No, probably not. It was actually what ruined my knee was going down a really, really steep incline for over 2 kilometers. And there was no rest on my hand. And I figured out later it was my hamstrings that locked up my knee, but it took me a few days to work that out.
Yeah,
Sorry.
for sure. So when we walk,
going up, I couldn't
have
walk
we ever
down.
done a walking class, Robin? Have you ever done a walking class with me? A Taiji walking class?
Yep.
You have, haven't you? So the idea of using your knee strings takes a lot of pressure off your knees. So you think like a puppet, that the string's pulling your knee up. So when you're walking, you feel like you're floating, and you feel all the pressure comes off your knees, and you feel like your knees are walking, and you have your head string, and you have your knee strings, and so when you're walking, you feel like you float. It's a very unique experience, especially when you're walking long distances. It'll click in, and then you'll feel like there's almost like weightless in your legs. And you'll have that feeling because you have plenty of time to practice it. But I encourage you to try and do that when you're walking. Qigong, remember Qigong is like if you think of something in your mind, if you close your eyes and you think of doing a Qigong exercise, doesn't matter which exercise it is, you think of it without actually even moving your arms, your body doesn't know that you're not doing it because your intention in your mind, and you can picture yourself doing it, and you see your arms moving, you see your arms moving down, your body's going to react to that, thinking that you're actually doing it. They've done studies on it about people's thoughts and then watching their body react to it. They've wired people up in electrodes and realized that the body energy changes just with the mind thought without actually doing any physical breaths. So it's the same thing I think I've talked to Mark about that's doing, I can close my eyes and do a Tai Chi form, and when I can do the whole form from the start to the finish of the form, and my body thinks I'm actually doing it because it starts, I can feel the energy moving around the body, it changes because it knows I'm doing it. And so it's clever. So we're way more clever than I think we are. And so it works it out. So by the mere fact you're thinking of that, you're thinking of bringing energy to your joints, you're thinking of bringing the chi and the blood to your joints to nurture it, to get it flowing through. It's a really good thing to do. Yeah, and it does work. So then answer your question is simple. You ask a simple question, I give you a big answer, but the answer is yes. It has that intention, will create lots of movement. You can slow your heart down with your intention. You can just think of your heart, take your pulse, and you can just think of slowing your heart down. You'll find your pulse slows down just by thinking about it. So it's the same. You can actually speed it up by thinking about it as well if you want to. Not that you want to do that. Anyway, so that's the answer. Yeah, think about it. Think of exercises that bring energy to your 4 limbs. Spring exercise because you're using your limbs, you're using your arms and legs. Spring exercise, the springs in charge of the four limbs, and so you're going to tonify the spring is going to tonify the energy in your arms and legs as well. So you can try that one as well. Is that helpful?
Yeah, and I'll practice the leg strings for sure. I'll let you know how it goes.
Yeah, let me do the knee string one. You'll be surprised what happens with that. It's something clicks in. I think I've talked before in one of the Q&As where I had a friend who named Keith in New Zealand, and he was walking up a hill. He was walking up a mountain. He was carrying a pack, and a friend he was walking with was struggling, so he carried his pack for him. So he had 2 packs, and he was using his knee strings. And he said he got to the top of the hill, and he said he just floated up the hill. He said it was the bizarrest experience I've ever had. He got to the top, and I wasn't even tired. Every step was just like it was effortless. And because he'd been practicing Taiji for over 10 years, so he'd learned how to walk like that because we did a lot of walking classes. And he worked how to do it, and he was carrying extra weight too, and had no effect. And the guy couldn't get over it. The other guy said, "How are you not tired?" He said, "I'm fine." But it's pretty hard to explain to someone what you were doing if you don't understand that principle or what he was doing. So, but he came back with glowing. He said, "My God, that made such a difference." He said, "I was just like, I wasn't walking anymore. I was floating." So there you go. So you're going to get opportunity to do that because you're walking a long way. And so you get a lot of time for the body to get into that repetition thing. Think of knee strings, putting your knee strings up when you're walking. I do it on the treadmills. I do it when I'm on those exercise things. I think of bringing my knees up. When I'm biking, I always think of knee strings when I'm biking as well. Hopefully that's useful. Enjoy your walk. Any more questions?
I have a question about hand tapping, because in my group at the end, we were talking about the tapping that they use in yoga, because I'm in India and everyone's a yoga expert here. And so I also, the next lesson, we did the meridian tapping that you had taught us. And then I also saw a YouTube video of someone doing hand tapping, where you tap your hands. So I was wondering what your thoughts were about that and its effectiveness.
Yeah, so in the long life Qi Gong system, there's lots of point stimulations, tapping the points. There's lots of them. That particular ones do Hu, which is a small intestine point. So there's lots of Qi Gong exercises that do that. As I say, in the long life Qi Gong system that I teach, there's lots of tapping. There's arm tapping. There's Nei Guan, there's Wai Guan tapping. So there's a whole lot of this tapping. It's a very, very well practiced and documented practice to stimulate the acupuncture points, stimulating the meridians, which with the slapping, of course, the Caughey does the one on meridians. But the individual points, it's the punching the Zen file, which is with the fist and hitting your kidneys, and they all work. They're all fantastic, depending on what system you're doing and what you want to do it for.
Is there one system that is just for tapping, or is that just part of many systems?
They're part of different systems. The one that has the most tapping that I teach would be the long life system, and it's a particular set of exercises. Thing that's connecting the points. The particular long life practice it's inside that course, and they tap. But I'd imagine there are other systems, other teaching systems that just do tapping. I don't teach them individually, but except for the long life, where you actually do the tapping. And the meridian slapping, well, I've done a whole video series on that. I think pretty sure it's on the YouTube channel I'm sure it's on the advanced courses. I think the meridian slapping's on there somewhere.
Yeah, it was on the Tuesday one, advanced.
Yeah, one of the advanced ones, yeah. So I did the whole 12 meridians. So I think over 2 classes. There was 2 classes. It was part 1 and part 2. Yeah, so that's a really good practice, and that's a practice in itself. But the tapping the points one, the only one that I do would be long life. As I say, there's a lot of different tappings in that particular one. I like them. I think they're really, really good.
Thank you very much.
Very, very welcome. You can find the long life. There's an introduction course on the website that's relatively inexpensive to get all those exercises. I can't even remember the price, but it's not a lot. And so they're all on that course. So you'll see them all. And you get a manual, and it's got a written on the manual as well. If you like that. Get to beat yourself up. You get to punch yourself. You get to punch your shoulder.
I got to say, it does look funny when people walk past and have a look at what we're doing.
Yeah, it's great, isn't it? I love that. I love the fact that we do something strange, because I'm good for strange. Strange is a good thing. I had a story, got a story. So in New Zealand, I used to do one of our yearly retreats was at a bird sanctuary in the Thames, where there was a hot springs there. And we used to stay in the bird sanctuary and go down the road for the hot springs and do lots of Qi Gong in the hot water of the springs, the mineral water. And we stayed at the bird sanctuary. And so the big sign in front of the bird sanctuary, and there was a big lawn area in front of the building where we were staying because they had accommodation in there. And in the morning we go outside in the grass and we do our Qi Gong practice. Well, there's a road right beside it, quite a busy road, single road, like a country road, but a lot of people go past it to go to the talks. And we'd sit down in front of the bird sanctuary, and we'd be doing this exercise. Yeah. Wild goose fly in front of the bird sanctuary, like this. So we've got 40 people in front of the bird sanctuary doing this, and people are driving past. And you see them looking at us, oh my God. All those bird people, they think they're flying. And you see the little kids, Mummy, what are they doing? They say, don't look at those strange people doing this in front of the bird sanctuary. That's my sense of humour. We did the other one, we did the one that looks like a penguin. We'll do the penguin one too. I just couldn't help myself. I just liked it. And everybody was cracking up laughing because they were watching the expression on the people's faces as they drove past. I think probably the bird sanctuary people didn't probably think it was too good, but I don't know. They never seen anything anyway. I just wanted to share that. It just came to me. There's something funny about people watching us doing Qi Gong. Anyway, I love it. I mean, it's outside of people's realms of normality. It's not something we normally do. You don't see people doing, you see people doing exercises or running, or you see that. When you see some strange exercises, people doing Qi Gong exercise, they go, what's that? They have no idea what it is. I think it's great. It's a good encouragement for people to discover what it is. Keep going. The weirder, the better. I like it. Very good. Thank you for letting me share that story. It's fun. I haven't told that story for a long time. Anyway. Any more questions? Any more questions or insights? I think one of the hardest parts with doing Qi Gong or Qi Gong or Tai Chi or Qi Gong, whatever it is to be out in public. I think it's one of the more difficult things to do, and to let go our self-awareness that people are watching us. And I think it's a great practice to do that, is to get to the stage where you get out there and practice, and you're practicing for you, you're practicing for your own health, you're practicing connecting with nature, and to let the people go. And just don't care what they think, don't care what they stop and look, don't care anything, and just be mindful and stay inside your own practice. I think it's such a great thing to learn and to get more and more confident being outside in front of people. I think it's a great thing because it lets go that whole self worry, and you just stay inside your own space and don't care what they think. We're not responsible for what they think, and let that go. And it's not easy to do that because we are usually quite conditioned as human beings to care about what people think, and by our parents and society, and to actually let that go and just train and not care about it. It's a great practice. And I train in public areas for exactly that, so that I can actually just let it go, stay present to what I'm doing. Just want to just mention that it's useful.
Yeah, it's well, actually, I've done Tai Chi a lot in the public. I really don't care what people think.
Perfect.
And actually, I've had a number of times people come up to me and ask about it, or even want to practice with me, or
yeah, cool. That's so cool.
So
yeah, that's
yeah, I remember Emmy telling me she was learning Tai Chi, and she said she was too embarrassed to do it in public because she said she did it so poorly. But I said, oh, it's a good way to work on looking at your self-importance, but she didn't really take too kindly to that.
but I understand the principle, it's a great opportunity to let go our ego about caring about what people think. And even if you don't do it well, it doesn't matter. Most people wouldn't know you're not doing it well anyway, because they don't know what it looks like. They don't know what it looks like doing it well looks like, let alone what it looks like when you're not doing it well. They wouldn't know. They have no idea what it looked like. So it doesn't make any difference. It's just being out there and losing that feeling, that fear of public awareness, and just being there, being yourself, showing up. I think it's such a great thing to grow your own self-confidence in yourself and not be affected by what other people think. It's a very cool thing. So, and I know, Mike, that what you said there before, we talked about this before, about how you've got to the place where you just do Taiji, not care. Such a good space, such a great place to just do that. It's, what is that thing? Well, I'm not responsible for what other people think of me. It's none of it's none of your concern. It's none of your business what other people think of you. I think it's a great analogy, and that's a good way to practice that. Yeah, very cool.
It's the same thing like if you go dancing. Like, are you going to be self-conscious about how you dance, or are you just going to enjoy yourself?
Just let go and enjoy yourself, not care what other people think. Just go and enjoy it. It's totally. They have a thing here called.
Oh, and then alcohol is a good lubricant for that, by the way. We're talking about drunken
forms, yeah, the drunken dancing form. Oh heavens, I can relate to that. You when I was young, you'd never get me up dancing, unless I had a few whiskeys before I get up and dance. But then I loved dancing, but I would never get up and dance when I was so conscious about people looking at me. And that comes from my upbringing, from my parents, about being what people, what are you doing? People are watching you. What are you doing? I said, oh, people are watching me. Oh, okay. What will people think if you do that? And so I'm thinking, oh, people will think of me when I'm doing things, because they're the stories that they tell you. And so you carry that for a long way. I love dancing now. I just get out and dance, just let it go, not care a hoot, whatever they think people think. But man, it took me a few years to break the spell of the story. And a lot of alcohol. Yeah, I used to have to get pretty sick before I dance. So I've got another one for you, Mark. Here's one for you, and I think I've told you the story. And this is for the other people, the story. I like telling stories. The stories are great. So my Taiji master one day decided we were doing Taiji forms. And he just tried it. He said, okay, we jump in the cars. We're going to go do the form in a different place. Oh, okay. So we'll go to a park somewhere. So he takes us down to a food court. He takes us to a Chinese food court in Auckland in New Zealand. The place is full of tables, full of Chinese. And there was an area down the end. And he said, okay, stand here, we're going to go through the form. And I go, oh no. My form's shit. My form's not good. They'll all know how crappy I am at Tai Chi. I'm going to be so embarrassed about it. And so he just started doing the form. And so I just did the form really, in my mind, really, really badly. Everybody else was just panicking like me. We're basically doing Qi Gong, and there's all these European people doing Qi Gong in front of Chinese. It was just the most harrowing 10 minutes or however long it took to get to the form. I was just so embarrassed. And I sat there and we finished the form, we bowed, and they stood up and started clapping. And I'm going, well, how can you clap? How can you clap? I make about 50 mistakes and it was just crap and you're clapping. And he turns around and he says, not everybody in China does Tai Chi, let alone do they know what Tai Chi looks like. Let alone do they know what a good Tai Chi form looks like. He said, it's a misconception that everybody in China knows Tai Chi. It's not true. He said, and they were clapping. And I walked out and said, that's the most bizarre experience. And then I realized it doesn't, and what he did it for was, where could you go to do Tai Chi form that'd be the most embarrassing? You could do it in front of Chinese at a restaurant. So that, I think it broke the spell. It just didn't matter where you did it, because half the people don't know what Tai Chi looks like. They don't know what a good Tai Chi form looks like. And if it was a person that doesn't practice Tai Chi a lot, he'll be just happy that you're practicing Tai Chi. He'll be happy that you're trying it. You're practicing. And they'll know where you are because they can see the form. And they'll just be happy that you're actually trying. And it's not what we think it is. But that was my lesson from that. And I thank him for that lesson, as tough as it was. But it broke the whole spell about thinking that everybody knows China about Tai Chi. They don't. And when I went to China, it's the same thing. A lot of the people don't practice Tai Chi. There's only a certain group of people who do that. So there you go. So I just wanted to share that story.
Well, here's the thought. Even if they did know Tai Chi, what's the difference? who cares what they think, whether they know you're doing the form well or not?
Well, absolutely. But as I say, if they do Tai Chi and they see people trying to have a go at Tai, if you understand, when you see somebody doing Tai Chi, you're listening and go, oh, I'm happy that they're doing it. Whether it's good, bad, or indifferent, there's no judgment. It's just, I'm just happy that they're having a go. But as you say, the big thing, of course, is just doesn't care what other people think. Whether they're Chinese or anybody, doesn't think of how you're doing it for right, wrong, or indifferent. The fact you're just doing what you're doing and you're trying to go, you're doing the best you can. What else can you do? And letting everything else go. I 100% agree. And thank you for pointing that out, Mark, just then about it is important, more important about just letting it go. Not worrying whether they think your performance good or not good or anything else. The most important part is not to care. Well, it's not to care. It's not caring. It's more about being okay.
Detached, sort of. Detached from what they think.
It's okay, detached from the opinions of other people. And just just being okay with what you're doing. And that's the most important thing. And I think that's important. I always believe it's not only detach from what you're doing and be comfortable with what you're doing, but also know that there's something bigger than you're connected to as well. And that's the energy, the connection. It's way more important than what other people think of you. I'm not saying that I'm.
Of course, what happens when you start worrying about what other people think takes you out of being present.
Oh, absolutely. Perfect comment. It exactly does that. Because it takes you into your mind. It takes you into your mind and your stories about people watching you. Exactly. I think one of the biggest ways you can practice how to do that is when you walk into a room, or you walk into a room and people turn around to see you, or you walk into a party or something and people turn around and not have any reaction to anybody looking at you, and seeing how good you'd get at that. You walk right through the middle of the room and not care about what people look, and not sort of walk differently. I only say that because I know what that feels like. I've done that for many years. Is to walk through the room and actually have to stand up, but try and walk perfectly straight and and catch yourself doing it and go, well, what does it really matter? But it did. In my mind, it did, because I was taught that it was important. How people saw you was important. And that's been the rest of my life trying to let that story go. Not easy. But anyway, it's all practice, isn't it? That's why, and it's good doing Tai Chi and Qi Gong out in public, because there's a skill factor with it too, and so if you make mistakes with it as well. And so it's even more, because you're not just walking, because you can hide your walk. This is you're actually doing something with the arms and the legs, so it's harder to hide. It's like a singer goes out. As soon as you start singing in public, well, you know whether you're hitting the notes right. You know whether you're pitching right or not. You can hear it.